Will Cain, who is actually in El Paso, Texas right now. Will, you know, we've all seen the images in the past year and a half of El Paso really starting to get really bad. Is that a good depiction of what it looks like there right now?
Well, you know, Ashley, over the last couple of days, there's been a pretty extensive cleanup effort to make sure that when President Biden arrived here in El Paso, it would look nothing like what it's looked like over the last several months. You've seen the before and after pictures of downtown El Paso. I talked to some of the business owners in that area of town as well. They've had a massive problem. Most of the migrant camps have been right there in downtown. And that's the thing. And it's important to understand the numbers. You just heard from Alexandria Hoff right there. Those numbers are important, but sometimes numbers, I feel like, can be a little bit stale. They can be a little bit dry. So yesterday, right here on Fox and Friends Weekend, we had several El Paso residents who've lived here for decades, their entire life. So really some perspective, some context to give us. Tell us, what is life like right now as compared to the past? Here's what they had to say.
He's never visited in his 50 years in office. But the only reason he's visiting now is because he's going to run for 2024.
It's a photo op. They cleaned up the streets. They're going to show them clean, not like they looked normally, with thousands of immigrants living in the streets.
He doesn't have to create new laws, just enforce them. That's all that needs to be done.
Yeah, Ashley and Todd, those individuals actually were there to protest when President Biden arrived as well. Yesterday here on the set, we had people who lived here whose parents immigrated from Juarez. Juarez is yards away from where I'm sitting right now. The Rio Grande River's right there. The border wall is right next to me. This was a point. We're between points of entry. That's what people said. President Biden needs to not go to ports of entry, but see where the attempted illegal crossings are. Thousands were camped out right over here just about a month or two ago to try to cross the river and come in where we're sitting right now. So, did President Biden see that? What everyone in here has experienced for months? No. Did he finally, I guess, at least arrive at the southern border? Yes.
There's two things to point out about where the president went. One, you pointed out the obvious. There wasn't as much activity there, not even close to the other parts of the border that we've seen Bill Maloogian and Griff Jenkins go to. But I thought the left said walls are racist. What do you make of the fact that Joe Biden is seen walking right by a wall, despite the fact that so many in his party said, can't have a wall, Trump can't build a wall, walls are bad, so on and so forth?
Yeah, that's a good point, Todd. I guess everything can be racist when you write an article from thousands of miles away, when you sit in a room in front of a computer and theorize about the way somebody has some disparate impact, the way symbols affect your life. But when you live in the real world and you deal with an issue that's literally at your feet, here in your life, on your streets, maybe it's not so obvious that you can just throw those kinds of words around to dismiss an argument, to dismiss people's lives. You can't just say that's racist. You might have to say, we have a problem. And at least President Biden was told that by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. In response, as you heard again from Alexandria, says we're going to help with resources. We'll see. That's needed from the United States federal government.
Yeah, well, apparently he, at the end of Alexandria's bit there, it said that he didn't even read Abbott's letter, which said that he did not go to the worst places. But there was one woman in your sound that you used, and she was talking about how the city of El Paso cleaned up before he got there. Did anyone else say anything about specifically being mad at El Paso for doing that? What would be the point? That's like cleaning up after your parents are gone for the weekend for your brother and sister who had a party just to cover for the parents to get home so they won't get in trouble. So what was the point of that? Did anybody say anything?
Yeah. No one did, Ashley, to that exact question. No one did express anger at El Paso or Border Patrol for establishing the cleanup. I did ask that question to a man who runs the downtown business district here in El Paso, and his response was, at least it's finally addressed. His response was, we need help. And for whatever motivation it comes, and in whatever way it can affect our quality of life, I'll accept for now and hope for here after the president leaves, we can find a more permanent solution.
Now the question becomes, what comes of today's visit between President Biden and the Mexican president? Are they going to address the border, or is this just going to become the latest climate change conference where people talk a good game and nothing happens with regard to anything, except for the destruction of the United States energy industry? Will Cain, have a great Fox and Friends. We'll be watching for you.